the leading and genuinely solid theories about how Game of Thrones will end. Warning: this post includes Game of Thrones spoilers from recent seasons. The final season of television's most popular series is finally upon us, and at the conclusion of its brief, 6-episode run, we'll finally know how Game of Thrones ends. You who lives, who dies, and who ends up on the Iron Throne. Naturally, it's still too early to call the Westerosi we won't find out for sure until the final episode on May 19th, but since the Thrones cast has been pretty coy with details about the final season, it's worth diving into some GOT fan theories about how things might end for good. Many Redditors predict a super sad fatal fate awaits the Second King in the North. Seriously, if someone offers you that title, say no. After all, right now, Brandon Stark Isaac Hempstead Wright is the three-eyed raven, who had the history of the world downloaded into his brain in a previous season. We've seen him visit Daenerys Targaryen. Emilia Clarke made a visit to the throne room in Season 2 while she was stuck in the House of the Undying in Qarth. Before a heartwarming YouTubers in Deep Geek in 2017 and GOT Academy in 2015 both shared videos suggesting Sansa Stark's Sophie Turner could win the throne. They also point when a young and spoiled Cersei Lannister visited Maggie the Frog, she got a pretty accurate reading about her future. The show left out in a thread from 2 years ago, Redditor Squezza predicted Arya would kill Cersei, but HeelWizFan21 took that idea and gave it a twist in the comments. Cersei has been number 1 on Arya's list for a while. The Last Harpy has a fascinating video suggesting the ending of Game of Thrones may have a lot to do with Samuel Tarly and the art of telling a story. You're going to want to watch it. Of course, Thrones excels at defying expectations at every turn, so while these are the leading theories for how the series will end, nothing's certain until that final frame. Related A22 actors whose character died on Game of Thrones, where are they now? Microsoft get.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.